CTE, which stands for chronic traumatic encephalopathy, is a progressive degenerative brain disease caused by repeated brain trauma over a long period of time in a person. CTE triggers brain deterioration caused by the large buildup of the protein tau in the brain. Tau is a microtubular protein that lines up on the inside of a nerve cell to stabilize it. When a person constantly undergoes brain trauma, like those who suffer from CTE, tau protein begins to form huge tangles which slowly spread throughout the brain and kill brain cells. This killing of brain cells causes the brain to shrink and causes the ventricles, or the fluid-filled cavities in the brain, to be larger than normal. Additionally, CTE causes dysfunction of several important areas, including the thalamus, which is responsible for sending motor and sensory signals to be processed in the cerebral cortex, the hypothalamus, which is responsible for regulating behavior and mood, the hippocampus, which is associated with memory functions, and the amygdala, which controls emotions. As a result, CTE causes impulse control problems, aggression, anxiety, depression, and paranoia in people. It can also cause problems with thinking and memory, including memory loss, confusion, impaired judgment, and dementia. Researchers currently have not been able to find a way to diagnose CTE while a person is still living. A person can only be diagnosed with CTE by a post-mortem neuropathological analysis. This is due to the fact that no MRI, CT scan, or other brain imaging method can fully detect all the brain abnormalities CTE causes. Since CTE can't be diagnosed until after death, there is also currently no cure or treatment for CTE. However, the symptoms of CTE, such as depression and anxiety, can be treated individually through methods such as cognitive behavioral therapy and pain management therapy. Researchers are also still unaware if CTE is caused by influences other than severe head trauma, such as genetics, since not everyone who experiences constant head trauma develops CTE. Additionally, researchers are still unsure how long this disease takes to develop, since people have shown CTE symptoms as soon as a year after head trauma to as long as several decades after. When CTE was first discovered in 1928, it was mainly known to be found in wrestlers. However, in 2002, Dr. Bennett Amalu was the first person to find a case of this syndrome in a former football player, Mike Webster, who played in the NFL for the Pittsburgh Steelers. When the NFL found out about this, they denied the evidence Dr. Amalu presented, since they believed more research needed to be done. However, recently the NFL has now started taking steps to help prevent CTE in today's players due to the numerous amounts of studies that prove CTE is a serious issue. In fact, studies have shown that football is one of the most dangerous sports. Players typically get tackled more than 100 times per football game. This large number of hits have significant effects on a player's brain and entire body, since according to Timothy Gay, a physics professor at the University of Nebraska, players can produce up to 1,600 pounds of tackling force with their mass and speed combined. As a result, all football players face a 90% risk of developing CTE. Additionally, in a study by the American Medical Association, 110 out of 111 former NFL players' brains that were studied were found to have CTE. Aaron Hernandez, a former New England Patriot football player, was found to have one of the most severe cases of CTE they had seen in a 27-year-old. Aaron Hernandez played NFL football for 3 seasons before being found guilty for the murder of his friend Odin Lloyd. He was then also found guilty for murdering 2 other men in a drive-by shooting. As a result, he received a life sentence in jail. However, on April 19, 2017, he committed suicide by hanging himself in his prison cell. Before he killed himself, he left notes for his fiancée, daughter, and lawyer. Both his lawyer and fiancée reported that these letters made it seem as though he was in a delusional state of mind. As a result, they had his brain be tested for CTE. He was found to have a severe case of CTE with major damage in his frontal lobes, which are responsible for decision-making and judgment. As a result, his lawyer sued the NFL on behalf of his daughter, asking for compensation for Hernandez's extreme case of CTE, which he thinks resulted in him taking his own life. However, the NFL dismissed this case due to the fact that it is unknown when and how Hernandez's CTE developed. Similarly, in 2012, the Kansas City Chiefs player Jovan Belchler killed his girlfriend Cassandra Perkins by shooting her 9 times in their home before driving to the Chiefs' practice facility and shooting himself after thanking his coaches for all that they have done for him. When research was done on his brain, he was found to have CTE, and 7 out of 7 areas of his hippocampus were found to have excessive tau protein tangles. Due to the lack of research, the NFL tried to deny the evidence of CTE in football players when it was first discovered by Dr. Amalu. However, in recent years, the NFL has acknowledged the risks of CTE and is trying to help support research and is trying to make changes. In fact, the NFL has given $30 million to the National Institute of Health to support neuroscience research for CTE. Additionally, the NFL has made 47 rule changes since 2002, when CTE was first discovered in football players, to better protect players from concussions. Doctors are now required to sit in the booth of every game with binoculars and can stop a game if they think a player should be evaluated after a hit. Additionally, the NFL has 29 sideline medical professionals at each game that can keep a player from returning to the field no matter how much he protests if they believe a hit to the head was serious. The NFL has also started putting in more research to evaluate which helmet designs best reduce head impact severity. 10 helmets have been proven to be unsuccessful in providing head protection and have even been banned. Blaming the NFL for the actions of players who develop CTE would be unethical. Currently, there is no way to find out when and how CTE develops in a person. As a result, accusing the NFL for being responsible for the development of CTE when it could have developed in a player during their childhood, high school, or college experiences is not right. Although the NFL refused to believe CTE evidence in its early years of discovery, they have since become fully aware of its impact on their players and have started investing in research and making changes to the game to help reduce the amount of players affected by CTE. With all this information in mind, the NFL should not be considered responsible for the violent acts of players who develop CTE.